If you're looking for a flashy, feel-good video on how anyone can write a screenplay and sell it for a ton of money, I'm sorry, this ain't that video. But this video will help you get on the right road. Storytelling is all about emotions, and if you aren't willing to tap into yours, you will never be a good storyteller. Sometimes tapping into our own emotions is hard to do, in part because mixed with the joy is our fair share of pain, and no one is immune. Every person who lives on this planet deals with some things in life that are hard and painful and hurtful. And I'm not trying to trigger anyone or ask you to go places that you're just not able to go, and so I'm gonna be a bit transparent, and maybe that will encourage you to be willing to do the same. Because if you allow your emotions to surface, your writing will instantly get better. And that's one of the things I want. I want your writing to get better because I want to help you tell stories that matter. Stories that matter to you, stories that matter to our world. And those of you who've been around a while know that we mostly talk about screenwriting here on this channel, but I know some of you are writing novels and short stories or writing in other mediums, and it doesn't matter what the medium is. A story is a story is a story. You know, the way you tell that story changes, but the components of a good story and the characteristics of good storytellers are constant and never change. The medium, it doesn't matter. And one of the first things you have to realize when you're learning to tell stories, especially stories for the screen, is that story and storytelling are two very distinct things. There is overlap for sure, but they are not the same thing. The books don't really tell you this. They blend story and storytelling together, and they don't really tell you which is which. And if you're trying to figure out the craft on your own, you'll spend years spinning your wheels until you begin to sort it out. As a result, I try to include some videos that are focused on story and some videos that are focused on storytelling because I want you to know the difference. I do have resources below that go much deeper than I'm able to go in a YouTube video, so be sure to check those out. But I wanted to just talk about storytelling and specifically the emotion of pain. And part of it is that's just where I'm at right now. You know, some of you may know that my wife had cancer and she fought for 5.5 years. And on November 28th of last year, she died. And I miss her. And there is not a moment that I am not reminded of her. Every single thing is a reminder of her. And the day this video comes out would have actually been her 50th birthday. And I don't get to celebrate with her. You know, in our family, we put up streamers around the house and over the doors when it's someone's birthday, but there will be no streamers in our home on this day. In fact, and this will sound like a movie, but it's not, we met on her birthday 30 years ago. And our first official date was actually on Valentine's Day. I mean, I told you it sounded like a movie. And it may not look like it, but I am broken and hurting. And I wish things were different, but I know that she is not hurting anymore. And at least right now, I'm not crying every day. I mean, that may change, but I cry often. You know, sometimes it's a tear, sometimes it's one of those body shaking sobs, and it hurts, and I miss my wife. And it's actually a healthy thing to process emotions. I mean, there are limits, we can't stay there, and if you're having trouble processing emotions, please get some professional help. But here's why us processing our emotions is important when it comes to screenwriting. Storytelling is all about giving the audience a satisfying emotional ride. And if you aren't willing to tap into your own emotions and understand them on some level, you will not be able to persuade an audience to feel the emotions that you want them to feel, that they need to feel for your story to be well told. And this doesn't mean you have to experience the specific pain in your characters' lives for you to appropriately write them. You don't have to do that. It does mean, though, that you have to have tasted pain and tasted joy. My wife would constantly remind our daughters to choose joy. Happiness and joy are not the same thing. Happiness is dependent on circumstances. Joy is a choice that you can make. So I can be joyful and still be sad. And just like I need to have tasted pain, I also need to have tasted and savored joy. And the reason I have to have tasted both is there are two emotions that drive any storytelling experience: hope and fear. And if you want to give the audience an emotional ride, They need to be hoping for something while at the same time fearing the worst. And you, as a storyteller, play on those emotions and bring them to the forefront in your telling of the story. But for you to be able to find the hope and fear, yeah, you have to know what real joy is like, and you have to know what real pain is like. And chances are you know what both joy and pain feel like. You're a human living on this planet. I know that you have had both in your life. But are you allowing yourself to experience those emotions, to taste those emotions on a regular basis? You know, it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to hurt, it's okay to feel pain, and it's okay to feel the joy too. And it's okay to hope and to fear. And if you can become familiar with both sides of that same coin, it will inform your writing in ways that you can't possibly imagine. We are writers, right? We can do hard things. So it might be hard, but you can do it. Because sometimes processing the emotions is a hard thing, but you are in good company, and you need to let those emotions wash over you from time to time. Now, to be clear, you don't need to go seek out pain. If you're living life, pain will find you, I promise. The question is, what are you going to do with it when you have it? Are you going to learn from it? Are you going to allow it to infuse your writing with emotional vigor? Or are you going to bottle it up thinking it has no impact on your writing? Because perhaps maybe you just don't want to deal with it. But the thing is, you've got to deal with it. And truth be told, emotion has almost zero impact on your story. But it is 100% of your storytelling. And I don't have to tell you to not run from the joy, okay? We're all gonna willingly embrace joy in our lives. But I do need to tell you, you also cannot run from the pain either. You need both, because they fuel the hope and fear that drives every bit of storytelling, and you need to experience them. You need to know what they're like. And that's your job, really, to pull out the hope and fear and put the audience through an emotional ringer. And if you want to know more about the difference between story and storytelling, because there's a lot of nuances there, be sure to check out the Complete Guide to Story Structure or even the Screenwriting Fast Track course. Links are below for those. If you've written a couple of screenplays and you're ready to go to the next level because you're serious about the craft, then just book a call and talk with me about the Navigator. But maybe you're still new or newish and just kind of seeing if this whole screenwriting thing is for you. And if that's the case, and if you want to know where to start as a screenwriter, start here. If you found value, please let me know what was helpful. Fun buttons and links below. And when you tell a story, tap into your emotions and tell a story that matters. See you later.